Yes, right. Okay, we're running real late, so I want to move on now to our Tech Corner. A good one for you. We love doing this when we have a guest come into the studio and join us and show off their latest product. Our guest here today is Eric Kloss of 8tree, and Dirk and Eric are going to show you a few new products from 8tree. So take it away, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Yep, well, as Mike said, we've got Eric Kloss from 8tree. He is the Chief Technology Officer and the co-founder for 8tree. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Dirk.
And what are we looking at today?
First of all, thanks for having us in Tech Corner today. We are really glad to present it.
No problem.
So 8tree is a German-American startup company that makes surface inspection systems that are special in several ways. And I'd like to show you today the fastCheck system first. Okay. It's special in a way that it's incredibly fast, easy to use, and it's application specific. And the first application that we picked was actually triggered by the aircraft industry. Okay. And it's about checking fasteners. Probably everybody of you have seen fasteners when you enter an airplane.
Actually, let me try something, if we can do that. So we can, if we got the gauge cam here. Okay. Yeah. So, oh yeah. Okay. So if we see over here, so these are the fasteners that you would find when you walk up to an airplane. You're boarding an airplane. You see there's like a jillion of these fasteners holding the skin on the plane, essentially.
Exactly. Right? Hundreds, thousands of them on the fuselage, on the wing. Okay. And they have to be installed flush, really. So they should not be sticking out, and they should not be too deep. Okay. For two reasons. So if they are out, it's an aerodynamic problem. So fuel consumption goes really up, and that's a big problem today. And the other problem is if they are too deep, it's not stable. It's a structural problem then. Okay. So they have to check all these fasteners, and it's a problem because right now they're only using manual gauges, and it takes forever to check them. So what they do, they manually check by using their hands.
So they kind of run their hand over the skin and get a feel. Okay.
Exactly. Actually, you're very sensitive for that. So it works fine, but it's of course not very objective. Right. So only when they find a problem, then they use that dial gauge and check the fastener depth or height.
And what kind of precision are we talking about with these mountings?
Accuracy is actually very tight. The tolerances are tight. So it's about 2 thou for sticking out, and it's about 7 thou for deep fasteners.
So what, 50 microns?
50 micron height, 0.2 of a millimeter, roundabout. Okay. So that is the requirement if you want to check those. And we came up with an idea to use an optical scanner.
Now this is a structured light scanner, white light scanner?
Exactly, that's a structured light scanner. There's nothing really special about that except that it's very fast. Okay. And let me really quick do that measurement. And
so it did a quick scan of the skin, and what are we looking at here now on the skin itself?
So the system finds automatically the fasteners, and then it measures the depths of them. So, okay.
So what it did is it scanned the skin, and then it projected then back over the top of the actual fasteners how much intolerance they were in, or if they were in or out of tolerance, right?
Actually, that's the novelty of that system, that it uses like the surface of that part as a screen to project the results on. And the idea is really to have a color code, so the operator would only look at the color and he would see, okay, green color means this is intolerance, and red, blue color means it's either too deep or too high.
So he doesn't have to go back to a computer or anything. Basically, he takes a scan, he or she takes a scan, and immediately, if they don't see all green dots, they know there's something wrong.
Exactly. Okay. So what they usually do then, they circle those bad fasteners, and they are being drilled out, and the next size, bigger fasteners being installed.
Okay. Now, I think you told me that this only kind of scans a 8.5 by 11 kind of a sheet of paper size scan. So if they were going to scan a whole fuselage, they would have to kind of hopscotch the scanner down the plane?
That's exactly what they do. Or they installing this system on a robot or on a handling system, and they even think about installing it on the fastener installing system to check the fastener right when it's being installed.
Okay. And I think you have a video that kind of shows this, is that right?
Yeah, a very brief video we have to show how that is being applied on a plane. This is actually an animation that we made because people don't really understand the principle of projecting the results on the part. So we see the scanner, it has a camera and a projector on the other side, and now you see the surface of an aircraft, and you see these 100,000s of fasteners, and you can imagine it's hard work really to inspect them all by hand. So you see the scanning process, and pretty much in a second after that, it projects the results. In this case, they are all good, so all green dots. It's battery powered, that device, and it's operated by a remote control. And so this is how the system would move along the surface. So it still takes some time, but it's about 10 times faster than the other approach with using a hand gauge. And there you see red dot means it's coming out, blue is a deep fastener, and we can also check the angle, whether it's installed crooked. Okay.
Okay. So this was this application happened to be a fastener application. I understand you got a couple of other applications.
Yeah. So that was all triggered by the aircraft industry because they had that problem. And when we developed that principle, we found we have other applications that we could use. One is being checking for dents. Of course, there are dents in many parts. For example, also in airplane parts. And in automotive parts, hail damage, for example. And it works very similarly. So the surface is being entirely scanned, and then you define a certain area that you want to inspect.
So you're just drawing a box around the area that you're interested in.
Exactly.
And it just scans and gives you, looks like a color contour map just of that area then.
Exactly, that's what it is. So it compares it to a reference plane. And now we see each little dent. So there's a big one that you can easily see with your naked eye.
So you're moving the cursor, as you move the cursor over that dent, it's giving you an indication of how far out it is, either up or down.
Yeah, exactly. So red, or the reddish colors mean it's coming out. The bluish colors are deep fasteners, deep dents.
Right.
So that's actually the second application. We call it dentCheck. And for the purpose of demonstrating it, we put it all in the same system. Actually, these are separate systems that can have different fields of view and so on.
Okay. So basically, so what you're saying is the hardware is the same. It's kind of a software application that varies,
yeah, pretty much a software.
Other than maybe the optics, field of view you mentioned. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, and again, based on the same principles, we can also check what we call gap and flush measurement.
Okay.
So on that sample, we see a gap that is increasing in size down to the bottom. And what you can't see so clearly, it's also a gap problem. So they are not exactly a flush problem. They are not exactly flush.
Right. Just what Eric's talking about is if you could look end on this, you would see that these two pieces of poster board aren't planar with each other. They're kind of skewed from each other. So not only is there a gap difference, but there's also a flush difference as it moves along from top to bottom. So it did a scan, and now we're getting our gap and flush feedback.
Yeah, and the idea or presentation of results is very similar. So we're using color codes to make it really easy to understand. So if you're looking at green colors, everything is fine. So the gap is okay in this area, and the flush measurement is also okay. But if we're going down here, we see that the flush numbers are increasing, so the circles are getting bigger and bigger.
And if you can leave the gauge shot back up there, Daniel. So these arrows, those are telling me whether my gap is in spec, right? So the arrows are gap, and then the circles are flush. So as as I'm going down, I'm seeing these circles getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which means my flush is getting worse and worse and worse. Is that
that's exactly the idea of presenting these results here. Okay. To have, actually, the operator doesn't have to look at the numbers really, but he just checks for the green color, and then he's good to go.
Okay. Now, what you've been talking about mostly aerospace. Is that typically the application for all three of these technologies, or are there other?
Yeah. So we are a small startup. So we started concentrating on the aerospace industry, but we're getting demand from the automotive and other industries to apply the exact same principles for their measurements. For example, dent measurements on cars, you can do the same thing. And we are talking also to insurance companies right now that are interested, for example, to if you have hail damage on cars, to check for those.
And so the kind of to wrap all this up, basically what you've got is the technology is a structured white light scanner
Exactly.
that scans a surface and then immediately projects back onto the surface how that surface varies from whatever tolerances you're looking for. And I'm assuming those tolerances are pre-programmed into the box. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So there is a PC inside that system, and everything is pre-programmed. We can very easily change also these settings by using a barcode and tell the system, okay, now the tolerances are different.
Oh, really? So you could use your cameras to scan a barcode. The barcode's going to tell it what measurement program to bring up. Okay.
To make it really easy for the operator now to switch from one tolerance set to the next one.
And this box is all there is to it.
Right.
Other than for programming purposes, basically once this is programmed with the test routines, you're just going to take this box, put it on this looks like a regular camera tripod.
Yeah, so it can be put on anything. Just for that purpose, we put it on a tripod. But you could even use the system handheld, and yeah, it's battery powered. It's completely self-contained. So.
Okay. Well, again, this was the fastCheck, the gapCHECK, and the dentCheck.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, this was Eric Kloss from 8tree, Chief Technology Officer and co-founder. Eric, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on the show, Dirk. I appreciate it.
No problem. Back to you, Mike.
There you go. You have it from Eric Kloss and Dirk, the 8tree Tech Corner. 3 really good products there you saw on this week's Tech Corner. It's always nice again to have a guest come in and join us on the studio and go through Tech Corner with us, Dirk. That was fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, good product there, I think.
It's cool. You know, we're seeing more and more interesting technologies come along that are really more operator friendly, and this is kind of one of those technologies that falls in that. As Eric pointed out, structured white light scanning, that technology's been out for a long time. So the measurement aspect, as Eric said, is nothing new, but the idea of taking that now and projecting the information that the user needs to act on, projecting that right back on the work surface, so you don't have to go back to a computer and look at something. That's actually brilliant. That's great stuff.
It's getting better and better every day. It's always exciting in this industry of ours. All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Eric, for joining.